Hello and welcome to Mitten Backstage. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you missed the recent update, you can find out why. Everything's all in flux. Everything's all over the place. I've had such a crazy last few months, and I appreciate, the community and support around me that's kept me going and focused on a lot of performing, a lot of festivals, a lot of community reconnecting, networking, great performances. It's been fun so far, and keep an eye out for future episodes, but a lot of the schedule is going to pick up in the fall, but I have some that are, in the backlog that need to be put out. So today, I am happy to be chatting with Dave Palmer. Now, Dave Palmer is a fixture of the Grand Haven music community. You might know him as a guitar player and singer in some roles. You might know him as the guy who can help you fundraise for your band or help you get connected with people in the Grand Haven scene. But what he's really well known for is Walk the Beat. And if you're unfamiliar with Walk the Beat, it's currently in 3 different cities, Albion, Whitehall, and Grand Haven. And it happens during the summer. And it features local artists all around those cities during the time frame of each event. And there are all sorts of things that go into it. You can see different pop-up performances. You can meet and interact with artists. Artists can win a prize that involves studio time here at Third Coast. And it's a great event that just connects the community with local artists. And we talk a lot about that, his personal experience in the Michigan music scene, and so much more in this episode. Also, one of the first podcasts I was on was the Walk the Beat podcast. This was years ago, probably 2016. I can't even think back that far, but I'll link that below so you can check that out. If you like today's episode and you want to contribute to these podcasting efforts, you can head on over to patreon.com/Dutcher Snedeker. There you can get early access to podcast episodes pending crazy schedule changes, but you can also get exclusive merch and more. You can also go to DutcherSnedeker.com to see everything else that I'm up to around the internet. Also, my tour dates, they are up. So if you haven't seen me yet this summer, I'm going to be playing at a lot of different festivals. When this probably comes out, I'll be at Blissfest. There's still Beaver Island Music Festival. There's some shows in the Upper Peninsula, in the Northern Lower Peninsula area, Cowpie Music Festival, Hoxeyville, different local shows in Grand Rapids, all sorts of the Big Fam Fest, Pond Jam, the Holler Fest. There's so many festivals that are happening and supporting live music that I'm happy to be a part of. So check DutcherSnedeker.com/tour to see all those dates. You can also follow me on all the socials if you want updates there. Yeah, we're back at it, baby. We're rolling. All right, let's get right into today's conversation with Dave Palmer. Oh, just been keeping busy. Busy season. So yeah, I'm, excited about like Blissfest and Buttermilk Jamboree and Beaver Island, like just all these different places.
Beaver Island. I still have a medallion from Beaver Island from 1979.
Whoa.
That's before the Beaver Island. See, I'm old. This is before there was actually a beaver there. No,
yeah.
It was Beaver Tail Flat Tail Festival is what they called it.
Oh, really?
And I went there, I think, 2 years in a row for sure. And boy, I'm sure it's an entirely different experience than, well, maybe not entirely different, but it's a different experience than what's going on. I mean, these are people scrounging up stuff to put on a show.
Right.
And I mean, I went there, no money, no food, basically lived off of whatever fruit they threw out.
Just like, give me something.
I remember somebody showing up with a whole bunch of fruit and they just threw it on a table and we all just started scarfing it, but I think I spent all my money on airplane ride one time and the ferry the other time.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So I still remember the old flat tail.
Yeah, I haven't been to Beaver Island since I was 11 or 12. Because my family used to, it would be my parents and then my grandparents on my mom's side. We would kind of co-rent a cottage for a week and just bike around the island.
Oh,
and
right.
hang
No,
out.
I never even knew about it until somebody says, "Hey, there's a party going on." Okay,
Wait a minute.
I'm there. I'm in. Yeah, I was in my teens for sure. So, God, we're talking about, unfortunately, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Dang, man, I'm surprised I'm talking to you.
Right. Yeah.
Especially after that's just part of my childhood. Anyhow.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you're looking forward to summer with all the, the
Oh,
different plans.
you know, we have a ton of stuff going on, that's for sure. In fact, I was just talking to somebody that's doing some marketing for us. We're starting the third Walk the Beat music festival up in White Lake area, which is Whitehall, Montague.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I'm taking on. Cliff Harris, who runs the Walk the Beat in Albion, called me and said, "Hey, would you like to expand this to 10 cities?" So, they've been doing it down there for, I think this is their 6th year. I think this is our 7th year in Grand Haven, and this would be the first year there. We're trying, we would like to get to 10 cities in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
And, this is quite a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But right now we have 20 locations in Whitehall, Montague, 40 musical acts showing up for July 23rd. We've got about $8,000 worth of prizes to give away. Those are just door prizes. We've got a $5,000 raffle that goes with it. One of the guys, the winning band, you vote for best band as you're walking around, and they win 40 hours of production time here at Third Coast.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Which is always nice,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got the third one going. I don't know. I have no plans or no plan of attack for the fourth.
Yeah. Right.
But I got this far.
Yeah. 3 is still more.
And this is a building thing right now. We decided to do this. So it'll take till after this season, because there's also another Walk the Beat in August here in Grand Haven. Then there's a Walk the Beat in August in Albion, different days. I think one's the 2nd week and one's the 4th week of August. But I guess you'd have to go to walkthebeat.org to find that out.
Right. All the details.
But this is quite interesting. This is the first time I've actually gone into a town cold. And
Yeah.
go, "Hey, my name's Dave Palmer." And I mean, I've said that, the story is so repetitive to me, but
right.
I still get geeked up about the whole thing every time I say it. We would like to get to 10 cities. We just want to spread goodwill, music, create venues. There's so many people that are always talking about, "Well, I'm playing here." Well, everybody's playing there. Well, but everybody can't play there.
Right.
There's millions of players, and there's no place to play. They're all fighting for a corner in a bar or a breweries, which have been wonderful for all these players.
Yeah, they've been popping up.
But my opinion was always try to create new venues.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you get jobs where nobody else is working. I mean, we've even got up there, even the U.S. Post Office is going to have 2 musical acts.
Wow.
I walked in, I go, "Hey," because it's a route, right? So I got to it's even tougher because you got to find these places on a route.
Yeah.
You just can't scatter them around, even though I did the first time. But I walked in, I said, "Fat chance this is going to work, but is there any way I could put a band out front here?" And the lady goes, she goes, "Just a second." She walks around and goes where I can't see her, but I hear her talking. I can hear him going, "Wah, wah, 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 wah," and all of a sudden somebody goes, "Sidewalk, rah, 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 rah." She walks back out and she goes, "You're all set." I go, "What? How did you pull that?" She goes, "This is small town America, man.
Yeah.
We take care of ourselves." I like your attitude. And that's
go.
what another part of the Walk the Beat, I'm a huge fan of music and creative people in general. It doesn't even have to be a musician. You could be an artist or even a speaker or anything. I look at everything as art. That chair that's sitting in the corner here is somebody designed that, that's their type of art. I look at these festivals as my kind of art. You find all these different colors, you put them all together, and you come up with this event.
Yeah.
You know? And I just think that the small towns we're losing our uniqueness. For instance, and I can't remember the name of these people up there in Whitehall, but there's places like the Book Nook.
Right.
Have you ever heard of the Book Nook? Have you played there?
Yes.
They have a piano. They have a grand piano right there.
Yeah, I love that piano.
And one of the first places to say, "Hey, we're involved." A unique little bookstore that also has music. It's a coffee shop. I mean, it's just not the big names.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is a couple of guys cutting their little piece of the pie out of America.
Right.
And across the store is a little record shop. It's not a huge conglomerate. I mean, those places have their places.
Yeah.
But the small little hometown uniqueness is really what helps drive me through this whole thing. I asked them to sponsor these. There's 20 locations, and for them to say yes is pretty big to me. There's even a church involved. There'll be a church band. I believe that all these different locations are the community. I believe that all of the different music shows the different aspects of life in the community.
Yes.
The venues are definitely their community. And then we also bring on nonprofits to help out, and they help sell raffle tickets. There's like 13 or 14 of them helping us sell raffle tickets. I believe that everybody in those nonprofits are your community.
Right.
This is what we're made up of, folks.
Yeah.
And just because you at times are, we tend to go towards our own demographics, right?
Right.
Like musicians. I'm hanging out at Third Coast. I have an office at Third Coast. I want to hang out with musicians.
Right.
But it kind of isolates you from everybody else sometimes because you're so involved with your part. So when you can come to this Walk the Beat, it basically, you see the whole community right there. It's all happening right in front of you. This is this community. And small town people love where they live.
Yes.
I mean, they are dedicated.
Yeah, they wouldn't live there otherwise.
Correct. And they just love their spot.
Right.
And I don't blame them. And what we're trying to do is get people to come to their spot so that we don't lose them totally. Because a lot of them are just summertime places.
Right.
They have restricted hours in the winter because they just simply can't afford to keep the heat on. There's just nobody around.
Yeah.
So during the summer, we want to pack the place. We want at least one day where everybody comes to Whitehall, Montague, the White Lake area, and one day they go to Grand Haven. And I know I'm just talking because I'm on a roll.
No, you're right.
But like even in Grand Haven, we're not on the beach.
No.
I want to work with the, I guess you would call it secondary service area. People don't see it as often. They don't hear about it as often. But, we have people playing at a tire store.
Yep.
Of course, we got a couple bars involved, restaurants involved, ice cream stores involved, auto body places involved, people who make glass, they're involved. Insurance companies. I mean, they're all part of your community, and they they sell services.
Yeah.
Come on down and check out some of these services. Let's see who these people are, what they do for a living. And, as a musician that you are, how hard it is to make a living as a musician.
Yeah.
They also have a hard life, man. I mean, it's tough. I've been self-employed for too damn long. Right. Being self-employed and these little shops and stuff is much, much harder than anybody gives any of these people credit for.
Right. And it's great that it's like, it's not just like, oh, it's the music community, because sometimes you think of like a festival and maybe a sponsor has their name, but there's no representative. But to have like the musicians playing in and around the community, business owners being able to interact with, someone who just showed up to see a band and they're like, you know what, I need my tires fixed. Like I've never checked this place out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The whole idea is for you to see what is available in this town, not just from nonprofits, because all the nonprofits will be there, to see what kind of services that people that need those services, or you might go, hey, you know what, I just saw over there, they, kids, what is it? Food basket for kids.
Right.
I know Mary's having a hard time. Have her call this place, or I'm going to call this place,
Right.
And you realize that there are people out there wanting to help.
Mm-hmm.
The governments definitely can't do it for us.
Right.
I'm not saying they definitely can. I'm not getting into that. I didn't even mean to bring it up.
Nah.
But we do need to take care of ourselves.
Right.
Nobody gives a rip about you like you can.
Yeah.
And they just don't understand the struggle. They don't understand your life. They don't.
Right.
I know you. I'm starting to know you fairly well because we're both in this room and we work. In this building.
Oh, right. Yes.
And we've worked together on a couple of things, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But nobody really knows what's going on with you when you leave this building. I do not know what. I don't know if you go home and kick your dog. I don't know.
Right.
He's such a nice guy. And as soon as you walk out of here, you're booting the dog. I wouldn't know.
Dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm sure you're feeding them and petting them. But
right.
But that's just my assumption.
Right. Well, and it's also that thing too, where like there's the simultaneous push, and I see it whether it's like how it's presented on social media or how audiences interact with an artist. People want that kind of peek behind the veil, that transparency, a little bit of the honesty with their art. And then at the same time, if, there are times where I see people bring up like mental health issues, or they bring up financial issues, or they bring up
absolutely
whatever. And then,
that's a daily occurrence.
Yeah. And then someone in the comments is like, hey, you maybe just stick to the music part. And it's like,
yeah, it's not all a person is.
Yeah. It's
you're many facets of, in fact, when I got married, I told my wife, I said, I've been married 43 years. I'll never do anything for more than 10 years at a crack, except be married.
Right.
And I said, I just get bored with it. And I don't want to be known. I worked in a factory for 10 years when I first got married. The last thing I want to do is be known as a factory rat. But I am a factory rat. I still claim a factory rat. I've worked there for 10 and a half years. You can't get it out of you. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, the most underrated heroes in our country are these factory people. They do these jobs, and I did it for 10 and a half years. Some of it can be very mindless. Mm-hmm. In fact, I was probably one of the highest paid people in our factory as far as a worker when I quit. And I was literally just taking pieces and catching them before they fell onto a conveyor belt so it wouldn't leave a little black mark on them. And that's 35 years ago. I was making $16.50 an hour. Nobody could even believe it. How much do you make? And that's what I was doing. I called my boss over and I said, I'm done. I cannot waste my brain like this one more minute. Mm-hmm. He goes, you've been saying that for 5 years. I go, I am done right now. Done. And I walked and I left. And it was like because I worked third shift so I could have a daytime job. And it was like 2:30 in the morning. That's half a day. And I just walked out and never went back. And I'm glad I didn't. But those people are punching out your forks. Those people are punching out your vents. That's what I was. In fact, I'm not kidding you. That is the piece I was handling.
Oh, really?
I worked at Heart & Cooling in Holland.
Wow.
That is to see how the white would drop on, and they would skid a little bit on the conveyor belt, which was black.
Oh.
So and this conveyor belt's a long thing. So
yeah.
I'd have to catch it and set it on there so it wouldn't leave a black mark.
Wow.
That's the kind of jobs nobody understands. And some people would be going, God, that's got to be a gravy job. Are you kidding me? It was killing me. It was killing me. It kills your creativity. Mm-hmm. It deadens your senses.
Yep.
Unless you're a guy like me that just can't stand it. And I left. I just got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I tried to work. It was my second year I tried to work. It was my second year, second semester at Grand Valley State. I, just hearing from different adults like, oh yeah, make sure you have another job so that, more money.
Your backup job.
So
your backup job, what else? I forget how that says. Your backup job will be your first job because if you have a backup job, that means you don't believe in your first job.
Right.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, and at the time at Grand Valley, I was, I had morning classes. I was getting a stipend and scholarships for doing the musical. So, in between those hours of time and the traveling, I went and did work at Magic Steel. I was tasked with anytime a forklift would bring a stack of skids, I'd have to just sort them, repair them, make sure, the colors, identifying the sizes were, just cutting and nail guns. And so it would be classes. I'd have an hour to get, lunch and then go to the steel job, work till 5, get out, go back up to campus, do the musical.
That's why I like you, because you take care of business. I mean, something you thought you had to do at the time, so you did it.
Yeah.
When I worked third shift, so I'd have to drive to Holland at night. First of all, I'd have to pick my wife up from work because she worked second shift.
Oh,
then
right.
I had hand over the baby, my daughter, who's now 43.
Yeah.
Then I would haul butt to Holland, work all night, get out, and this is in a factory, get out. I would have a suit in my car, drive to Grand Rapids, put my suit on in the car, and then I would sell real estate securities.
Wow.
Which are hotels, motels, that kind of stuff. And they would put you through training every week, and I learned a lot about presentations and stuff from that business. But there's a lot of that was limited partnerships and a wide range. Anyhow,
right.
They came through and wiped out all those tax benefits, so I got out of that job, and I got into building houses, and then But anyhow, it's all about work.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens if you're not working.
Yeah,
you got to have the cash to make things roll.
Yeah, and it's been interesting a lot of the chats I've had with people about work in the last couple of years, especially just because so many people's whole lives are uprooted or they had to change career paths.
Absolutely.
And I see people who, it's less about I quit this job because I don't want to work. It was I have this opportunity to pursue this thing that I'm actually way more passionate about, and they're putting in it, the same, if not more work to make up the gap of I have a new career path. I got to learn some new skills, but I like the environment. And it's been interesting seeing friends who were thinking, oh, I'll be a performer. And then now they're the GM of the School of Rock. And they're oh, I thought I was going to do, be a studio engineer, and now they work,
Are you talking about Brandon?
Oh, no. I would.
He's kind of doing that. He's now running the school.
Oh, really?
And he's a sound engineer.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I was thinking of my friend Josh. He's at the new School of Rock in Grand Rapids.
Oh, really? It's called. We had talked about the School of Rock over here, and they said it was too close.
Oh, really?
And it was kind of strange because they said, well, if you would have, we've been trying to find somebody in that area for 8 years. We finally got him about 6 months ago, and then you call?
Yeah.
I go, well, hey, maybe my timing's not, I'm not the drummer. I don't have good timing.
Right.
But it's all about, I have found out, especially now that I'm old.
Yeah.
Hate the word. Because this is the best time of my life and the worst time of my life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've just come to the realization there's no real, everybody's looking for this big win, but there's really no winning. It's all about the journey. It really is. Mm-hmm. What I like about it, right now we're starting a new band with for my grandson. And we'll be starting all new promotion, all new whatever, kicking them off, the whole thing. That's the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
Managing stuff, I hate it. Once you got it, and then you got to run it, forget it. I hate that part. But as long as you're learning something, I think your mind is occupied enough to where you're loving it, especially if you're passionate about it. The hardest part is to find the passion. Mm-hmm. Millions and millions of us walking around with no passion whatsoever. They're talking about money all the time.
Yep.
I'm constantly, in fact, I was just called a socialist today to the very person I told I would work him in the ground. Even at 63, I will work you into the ground every day. But they just think about cash all the time, and cash is not the goal.
No,
They're thinking about the wrong goal. That's not your goal. You don't need cash to make a goal if you can get there some other way. But if your goal needs cash, you better throw it into the mix,
Right.
and it just makes it easier with money. It does.
yeah, well, and
At times.
yeah, and well, and it's funny here, like, I went and saw Jacob Collier in Detroit, and it's like a room full of mainly musicians, and like, Jacob's such a high performing artist.
Yeah.
But it was funny hearing some of the pre-show conversations. There was a guy near me with a couple other of his friends, and they were talking about like, like, oh, I'm just, once this quarter's done, I'll invest here, and then I got some money put into crypto, and I'm like, okay, cool, but do you know why we're all here? Like, we're seeing one of the, the seminal artists of our time, like, maybe put down and there's even a couple songs where Jacob was just like, hey, don't use your phones. Like, let's just hang out for a second.
I'm all about, well, it's very hard for me to sit still, even during concerts. But yes, I'm so surprised at how little people look at art, or people look at life as art. I don't know why it's the way it is, and I'm not sure why we are the way we are, but we are a strange bunch of creatures. There's no doubt about it. I was just had an hour-long conversation about a very creative person. The third person was the very creative person. We both are friends of this person. And he's struggling with cash. We're trying to help him. But at the same time, I'm talking to a woman who is basically a mother figure, at least an older sister figure to this person.
Oh, right.
And she's going, what he needs is just to get a job and, get his bills paid. And I go, I would never tell somebody to do that. I just wouldn't. I don't care if you're flat broke.
Right.
I wouldn't start doing things I don't want to do. I would seek out my passion. Then it doesn't matter if you're broke. It doesn't matter if you're hungry.
Right.
You're working. You're on your passion. And the problem is, I think that we've been told so many times, listen, you got to pay your bills. You got to do all this stuff. And I'm not saying you don't. You do. But there are ways. I did it.
Right.
There are ways to figure this out where you can come up with some money and follow your passions. It's not written out, though. Nobody's got the book.
No, and especially when I think of a lot of my friends who, they've either, they're creating art, but they submit it for like a grant, or they submit it for a competition, and maybe they've submitted to 100, but it just takes those couple that start the momentum of like, oh, I had a couple of friends who just they live in the Netherlands, and they received like 150,000 euros to just like expand. Like, oh, here's what we had plotted out for touring, for our albums, the music videos, the artwork.
Hey, man, I wish I had 150 grand myself.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you could just do projects the next 5 years.
Yeah. So, well, that's kind of what I'm doing right now with Avery's, my grandson's new band. We don't even have a name for it yet. Yeah. In fact, we're trying out a new drummer this Wednesday or Thursday night. And what was I going to tell you? What were we talking about?
Just about fun.
Oh, yeah.
Funding.
So I took on a job. I'm retired. But a good job came up, and I said, if you'll donate that to this band, I'll do the job. So I do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I did work someplace they're going to donate to Walk the Beat. I will swap out my extra time for that. But there's ways to do all of this stuff. You can trade, you can work if you have to, but I still think the biggest part of life is to find that passion, and it's tough. It is hard. Some people don't have it.
Right.
They just want to stay home and watch TV, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help creative people.
No. Yeah, and even like I think of, the conversations I've had with people who they see me doing a lot of different things, and sometimes there's the thought of like, oh, did you ever think about getting like some non-music job part-time just to like help take care of stuff? And I'm like, okay, but you you see how like involved I am with the other things.
Yeah,
It's like it's hard to like, okay, what do I stop doing
yeah,
podcasts, or do I stop I'd have to remove something
right.
to like add in another job rather
Yeah, I
than
think
just
if you're
build a thing.
continually working on your stuff, there's no reason for another job unless you have to live in the street.
Right.
Even then, probably figure it out. I
Yeah.
mean, I do happen to know somebody about a little older than me, actually, who's basically homeless about a week ago. I'm living in my car, the car I gave him.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It happens. It
Yeah.
happens. But he keeps reaching out. He's found his way through this. He's getting his stuff together. I mean, it's America. It's pretty tough to they won't even allow you to starve. It's against the law.
Wow.
If you went out on the street right there and just laid down, they will not allow that. If you say I'm not eating, they will not allow it. They will force feed you.
Yeah, they'll take you in and give you a nutrient.
They'll shove a tube right down your throat. You're not going anywhere. You're in misery with us.
Right.
It's. I mean, that's just the way it is. So I mean, even though you feel you're desperate, I tell people, man, don't let fear run it. Don't let fear run your life.
Yeah,
I mean, you should be worried about things, but not fear. Like, oh my God, I can't make my car payment. Well, then give them the car back. So what?
right.
Now you don't have a car. You think you're the only person in the world without a car?
Yeah,
It can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, and that's where like music school definitely taught me how to adjust to everything. Yeah, to not having any money, to not having and not having like there. Very quickly when I was there, I went from, because in high school, I'm like, I guess I'm just going to be a classical pianist because that's all I know. And then very quickly they're like, no, you can accompany, you can do jazz, you can do this, you can do that.
There's a ton.
Yeah. So it was like, it went from, I'm going to be a classical musician to I can do everything else also. And,
I think compromise is a big word. For instance, one of the guys in Avery's band told me that last time he was going through this, he wanted to do it was like 11 years ago, right? He goes, anybody said anything about my music? I just told him what for, and this is what I'm doing. And he goes, I have a different attitude now. Now that I'm older, I have a little different attitude. I understand that it's got to be listenable. People have to want to listen to it. And he's right. I mean, if you can do your own music, but not everybody needs to hear all of your own music. I mean, it's not on the listener. It's not their job. It's your job to produce what people want to listen to if you want them to listen to it. That's the way I think about it.
Yeah, and there's so many examples too of like, like just so many specific, like, oh, there's a band, like Sun. Like Sun, just most of their music is just held sustained chords that reverberate and shake a building, and people love that. And then other people are like, I want to go see Mono Neon, this dude who plays weird funk and like used to play with Prince. Like,
yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
isn't that crazy? But I think it's all valid, but that doesn't mean it's commercial valid. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole different thing. I mean, I've listened to some musicians cry that I can't do this. I go, it's not on us. You can't put that on everybody else. You're the one producing it. Yeah, it's like me building a car that doesn't have wheels and go, how come nobody's taking my car? Well, we don't like pushing. We don't like pushing our car. We want to, or what, towing it.
Yeah, and like even because there's been a lot of talk too of like, trying to get into sync licensing. Some people are pivoting to that. Some people are trying to just make more commercially viable music.
Yeah.
And even in that, it's like you can make something cookie cutter, like this sounds like Ariana Grande, but does that mean you're going to get the same attention like Ariana Grande?
Yeah,
no,
because there's more to it than that.
Yeah, because you're buried under a sea of other people who are also trying to sound like Ariana Grande.
I learned a long time ago. I went to a place when I started Spread the Music, which was in 2003. I went to a Fur Peace Ranch, which was Jorma Kokkonen, and he was the lead guitar player for Jefferson Airplane. And, he hates the record companies. He just talks about how they ripped him off. And there's so many people that were looking for those record companies. I think I'm off track. Am I off track?
No.
So, then you finally, oh, here's my big break. And then you find out it isn't a big break. They're just taking everything you got.
Yep.
I mean, he's in I think the 2 of his songs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they don't own them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's because I've definitely
The whole thing is a mess.
Yeah, and I've had conversations with people who are like, they're like, oh, why don't you try like pitching to a label? And it's like, well, I don't want to be that artist that like accidentally signs away all their art or takes a deal that's way too high that we can't reciprocate, and then we are in debt to a company for decades or whatever. It's
the being buried under. I think we were, everybody there that was taking this seminar type stuff. Hey, how do we get our song heard? How do we get our song heard? First of all, they were terrible songs, but it's their songs. And I was working with a guy named Verlin Thompson. He used to work with Guy Clark, and Guy Clark was there too. We did a songwriting thing, and he goes, and he used to be a songwriter for I can't remember her name, an old a country artist, Loretta Lynn or something like that. I think it was Loretta Lynn. And he goes, think about if you were to send your CD to somebody like Willie Nelson, he probably gets 1,500 a day of people just burying him with stuff. And he goes, when I went in, and he had some commercial success with Guy Clark, he goes, it is heartbreaking. You walk in, and they listen to your CD. If you get the chance to sit down in front of them, which I have, you go, or he has, 3-4 seconds, bam. 3-4 seconds, bam. Next one, next. Nope, nothing on there I need. He goes, it's demeaning. It's just, they don't have time.
No.
And if you ain't hitting it in the top, in quick 4, 5, 10 seconds, shit, man, we've got one. We got one of them. He goes, all the songs have been written.
Yep.
He goes, he was on a writing team. They'd write up to 14 songs a day for Loretta Lynn.
Wow.
Yeah, they just crank them out.
Just
That's all they did.
Get the nuggets out of the,
And he goes, she never did take one of my songs. But, they're cranking them out. And these people are players. You get down to Nashville. I rode a bicycle through there with a guitar one time. Oh, my God. I was so embarrassed by the time I left. I mean, even a 5-year-old kid could outplay me. Yeah. They just, can we use your guitar? Sure. They're ripping it up. And, but yeah, it's so tough. So this is all new anyway. What's going on right now in the music is completely new. The internet came along and it gives you all kinds of exposure, but you're in a huge pile now. 1,500, now you're 15 billion.
Yeah.
Of people singing and putting songs. So it has to be recreated. It will be recreated. It is being recreated. I don't know what's being created yet, but it is happening. Yeah. It's got to, because it's necessary.
Yeah, and I see like a lot of people are doing, I think of like someone like Jacob Sigmund over in the Ann Arbor area. He built a pretty sizable following on TikTok, getting hundreds of thousands of plays. A few of them have millions. And it's all goofy kind of comedic videos, but then it's in the style of music that he's already writing in for his projects. So when, he built the audience, and sure, it might be, 500,000 subscribers spread out around the world, but there's like 10,000 of them in this region. Like, let's make a concert here. And then the audience is already there. Correct. He's just making opportunities for the audience to interact.
I think there's I was talking with Bill Chrysler a while back. There is a service, or there used to be a service, that you would submit your music to them and they'd get on like 400 stations for you, right?
Right.
And then they would compile the information, such as what you're saying, and then you would choose your locations for shows based on that. Same thing you're kind of saying.
Yeah.
You find out who likes your stuff, and then you go to that area, because that's where your fans are.
Yep.
And I think you need to really work closer with fans. You don't just stick it on. That's just my own opinion. Because we are creating our own stuff right now for this new band, which we don't even have a name for yet. But I'm going from the ground up. I'm using ideas. I'll interchange a lot of ideas, like what you guys, people already do on the internet. But I think you need to follow up with a real, you know how they used to have fan clubs?
Oh, right. Yep.
The Monkees had a lot of fans. I never did write to a fan club, but I did know somebody that was the president of a fan club one time. And you need to stay in touch with your fans, hardcore. And you have to let them know they're special people, because out of how many people are on Earth now? I think we're up to 7, 8 billion.
Yeah, somewhere in between that.
7 billion. If you've got 10,000 fans, I'd stick with them hard. They're the only way you're going to get to 100.
Yeah, and that's like, and there's always, because some people think too that it's like, like, oh, Mr. Beast, he's a YouTuber, big, a lot of his videos are just like he did one where he recreated all the sets from Squid Games, and each set was like, $1.5 million to recreate, geez. And, held like that style of competition for prize money. But, as much as those videos are like, he's got the budget and the resources to make them, the money he's making is probably off of the 5% of his giant audience that buys everything he puts out.
Right.
And then you
should have those people over for Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
That's how I think about fans. You should be, whatever they want is what you're supposed to supply. Now, of course, it's got to be within the reason of the money.
Right.
It's got to shake out. But when it gets to the internet, it's very hard. There's no real set system on how it is going to achieve success. Now, there's people that are successful, but I think it was Scotty Pilgrim one time said, I'm putting out all these videos all over the place, all over the world.
Yep.
So many people watch. I stuff a rubber chicken into my hi-hat, and all of a sudden I got over 1 million views in a day, or whatever,
right. Yeah.
If you knew the system, if you knew it was rubber chickens, we'd all be putting rubber chickens in.
Yeah.
But it isn't the rubber chicken. It's it's that quirky thing that I do believe the more content you put out, the more chances you have of hitting on something that goes viral. Right. But it's very tough. There's no book. We'd all have it. We'd all have that book. If I could write the book, I'd be done.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be like, oh, here's how. Yeah, because even in Ari Herrnstein's book about the new music biz, a lot of the chapters aren't just, it isn't like, here are the 2 things I did that work every single time. He'll have like 1 million, like Radiohead did this and that was cool and you could try this, or, look at this version, or,
It's hopefully sparking something in your brain, that your creative brain, which I believe you and I are creative people, that, oh, I got it. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I have that every now and then. And it's nice. But then you have to follow through.
Yeah.
So I used to, when I worked at a factory, we would talk all the time about how the hell we're going to get out of here.
Right.
Everybody's got ideas. I got out because I implemented them.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has ideas and then sits around and tells me why they can't do it.
Right. They make the list of reasons. Yeah.
This is why I'm failing. That's not even a real list. The real list is, this is why I'm succeeding. That's the list you need to be looking at.
Yeah.
Of course you got to take into effect, this did not work. I'm out. I did just have that conversation today with someone else. She goes, well, he's not going to be, that was that guy we were talking about. He's not going to be successful at this because of this. And I go, I have failed at so many things. I've failed at tons of things.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. That's how you learn. But some people can't take the failure. They can't take it. It's a personal thing. It gets to their bones. Oh my God, I'm a dumbass or whatever it is. I can't do this. You can do this. I don't care who you are. I don't cut anybody slack for not achieving goals. Look at Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're going to complain? Stop complaining to me and show me what you're going to do tomorrow to make, or today, what you're going to do right now to make sure that you're successful at whatever you're doing. And even if you fail at it, you've given it a try.
Yeah.
You've made it through 6 months of your life. You're fed. You've slept somewhere. I mean, all you got to do is keep going until you're dead.
Yeah. It's,
you know what I mean?
And I think about like, one of the, when I was applying to colleges in high school, one of the papers I wrote was on Jason Becker, this guitar player who, grew up in like the heyday of the 80s, shredder. He's playing with David Lee Roth, and he had a band with Marty Friedman from Megadeth called Cacophony. And, he could play like Paganini etudes, but then he could also do like, legato shredding while he's using a yo-yo, like just like really flashy player.
Dog.
And then in his I think his mid-20s, he was diagnosed with ALS and just lost his, he can only move his eyes.
Ability, yeah.
And even just moving his eyes, he's still alive, and I think he's living with his family, and they've developed a way for him to they have picture charts and other ways of reading his eye movements so that he can spell out certain directions, and he still writes music, and then
still creating. Yeah,
like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, all these other players who grew up with him, they are the studio artists, and then he can, and so it might take him 6 years to make an album, but when it's out, it's got all these A-list people on it, and
it's not necessarily just about the album; it's about that journey right there.
Yeah,
I mean, how am I going to communicate? Give me a keyboard that I can look at. Something visual. Do this, do that. Those are the things that we're made up of. That's what creative people do. They fix things. They take care of problems. They they figure things out. I mean, I'm never have been scared of being, I have been broke. I was way broke as a kid. All kinds of broken. But I just determined, I still remember when I was very young going, I'm going to make enough money to quit work. That was my goal. I didn't want to work. I wanted the money at that time.
Right.
And now I've got a little money. I've got enough I was able to quit and retire. But it's still, the money part is the worst part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because of the way we treat money, what we think money is. To me, money frees up my time. I was buying time. People like to buy things.
Yep.
Like, I got to have a new boat. I got to have a brand new car. I don't want things. I want time.
Yes.
Time so I can work on the things that I want to work on.
Do.
Exactly. So it's not always money, though you think money is going to make it easier. When I've got a little money, it's a pain in the ass to just report it to the government, to keep it where it's got to be, to invest it, to lend it out, to give it out. It's a pain in the butt. Always got the check. And I'm going to tell you, I don't even know. My wife balances all the checkbooks. All the things I've done with nonprofit, there's an accountant. I don't handle that part. I put money in. Right. I find money, I put it in there, and they write all the checks. That way I'm never in trouble. What's this for? And then I just go, what was that check for? Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, there's a report, and
Yeah, we needed tables for an event. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's all this BS and people not paying and people, giving you checks that can't be cashed and all the other BS that you don't think is going to be involved with having money.
Right.
But, God, who was I just listening to as a huge artist? He's a comedian, Dwayne Cook.
Yeah.
His brother stole like $8 million from him.
Yeah, that Dane Cook's
Dane Cook.
I saw that story where he just, that he was switching management and then
and all of a sudden there is no money.
Yeah,
what? And you think your life's going good. So before he knew he was broke, the guy was having a ride and a half.
Yeah.
So it's not the money. Because the money is not there.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, there was no money. All the time you thought you had money, you didn't have money, and you were having the time of your life.
Yeah, and to think, too, that, because I remember seeing that Madison Square Garden special, and to think he rented the theater to, make that happen. And I was like, that's
That's
nuts.
expensive place.
Yeah, you just lost like a huge portion of your money, and then you're like, all right, I got to just go for broke.
I gotta go.
Gotta make, and then you like didn't have a set ready, so like most of it was improvised, and that ended up launching.
You know, most artists don't make money there. They do it because you have to do it. You know, if you're late 1 minute, you know how much they charge you?
I don't know.
10 grand.
10
10 grand. Billy Chrysler was telling me about it. Wow. He goes, so I'm there. He was there. In fact, I got on stage when he was doing the John Mayer Grateful Dead tour.
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
Me and Nancy, my wife, met him there.
Oh,
and
nice.
Picked us up on stage and stuff, and it was pretty cool. But he goes, yeah. The other night, John Mayer goes, screw it, we're gonna stay another 15 minutes. So he just dropped 150 grand, like 15 minutes.
Literally buying time.
Buying time, and that's what we should be doing, trying to buy our time.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to buy ourselves some time so you can live.
Mm-hmm.
If everything is, I believe in work. Shit, like I said, I will still outwork just about anybody. And I like to work, but I don't ever want to have to work. There's a big difference to me. It's a brain thing that I will dig a ditch for you, but don't tell me I have to dig a ditch for you.
Yeah.
You ask me, you need help, I'll come and help you dig your ditch. But if you tell me, here's $100, start digging.
Yeah.
I go, frick you, man.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I don't need your money. I don't want your money. I need your support.
Yeah.
You know, give me a shovel, I'll help. And I like working like that. I mean, all these walk the beat. We're all volunteers.
Right.
You know, in fact, we donate lots of cash to it too. You know, Rick Van Wielden, my buddy that started Walk the Beat with me, unfortunately has passed away. But he goes, Dave, this thing wouldn't run if you wouldn't keep giving it money. I go, what's the difference if I give him money or somebody else gives him money? Why is it all right if somebody else gives him money?
Right.
I'll support it. I love this thing. And now look, we're into 3 cities.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have to help through some some skinny times. You do need the cash, but if the idea is no good, it won't survive.
Right.
Just like going viral. If nobody wants to watch it or a song, nobody wants to hear it, they don't.
Right.
They don't want to hear it.
That's just the choice. Like, yeah, especially you could spend hours trying to like figure out the algorithm, but it's always changing, and it's not like it's not a set thing. It's very dynamic and subjective.
They make it miserable for anybody trying to market.
Yeah, so it's like,
well, they don't want you to really market.
Right. They want like, they say like, oh, the internet's democratized and everything is there, and then like as soon as you drop something in the puddle, it's just buried. And then
it is.
So
it's like pulling the finger out of a bucket of water.
Yeah, and I'll see like it's like they're advertising their promotion tools all the time. If you put a free post, they're like, hey, you could boost this for like $50 and get like 5,000 people to see it.
Yeah. And
it's like,
you ever do that?
I do it. We're about to do it with, I have to put up Earth Radio's summer schedule today. And we're, I was like, I'll do, put a promotion for like a week and see how it does. Maybe bring it back once a month and do a promotion, since we have shows until, on the thing through September. Yeah. So.
Well, let me ask you this. You were talking about demographics of people or fans, whatever.
Yeah.
How do you find out who your fans are, and how do you find out how to connect with that fan base in a heavy manner?
Yeah, I think the way that I've tried to zero in, especially like thinking Ohio and Chicago, where that's kind of the mid, outside of Michigan markets we played more. Facebook has the tools in the back end to like, you can narrow down your target audience, and then you can make different target groups that you can just, like make a post, goes to that target group, put some money into it. I also look at like, Spotify listens, like, oh, we have this many monthly listeners. What regions are they in? And
they will tell you where the regions are.
Yeah, it'll show like, like not just like U.S., but they'll say like these cities, and then they'll do like a global one where it's like you have people in Sweden and Germany and
do you
just like one person Sweden, a handful of people in random countries.
Do you have any place there's a consolidated group of people that are your fans?
Mainly, right now it's cities. Like we know, like Grand Rapids, Muskegon, and probably it'd be interesting to
Kalamazoo?
see. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like probably Kalamazoo just over like wherever Chicago and Ohio stand. I think we
Yeah.
have more fans in Chicago or more fans in Ohio just because of the connections we have through like the jam scene, I guess. Those
Yeah.
people tend to show up to our
Shows.
sets, and
Yeah.
we played with more local bands there than in Chicago, so I think that helps. But
Because I got to do all that stuff. I got to figure out how, one of the things I'm going to try to do with this new band is find out who is listening, will listen, who likes it. It is a bit of a, Patrick Lewis.
oh yeah,
Yeah, your bass player, Justin, used to play with him.
yeah, yep,
And I think he's a very unique individual. And for some reason, I like his music. I'm not even sure why I like it. I was told that to my wife. And my wife goes, I like it too. And I go, we're old. Why do we like this music? It's pretty radical at some. I think that's why I'm interested in it, is because it is. It's not following any real path. I mean,
right. It's something distinct from
yeah,
what
yeah.
you've-
You're either gonna Bill Kreischer. This is how he explained it to me. You're either gonna love this guy or hate it.
yeah,
And I love it. I really do. I don't know why, but it's really cool stuff. But I have to find that. I mean, it's not like it's not gonna be raindrops keep falling on my head. It's not gonna be the masses are not gonna flock to this. I don't think.
right.
But I do think that there's definitely a spot. So I have to try to identify that it's. And that's going to be the toughest thing for me, I think. Once I get it identified, though, I want to treat their fans like they're kings and queens if I can.
Right. Because, I think of like an artist like Tyler, the Creator, with the odd future collective of hip hop, alternative hip hop artists. They put a lot of emphasis into their community with like, hey, we're making music, we're doing these shows, on Adult Swim, we're making fashion,
Yeah.
they're very on the ground, like interacting that way. And that's partly why, his career's so big now, is because he was doing the, what people are trying to do now on social media. He was doing that in the very early stages of it.
Yes.
And showing like, oh, he didn't immediately go to a label. He invested in the people who were directly giving, $5 for a mixtape or something, investing in those people because they kept showing up more than any
Absolutely, man.
label
We'll take
did.
$5 at a time as long as they're all throwing it in all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps. I was, I don't know the name of the book and I can't remember the name of the guy, but Michael Hampton?
Oh yeah.
Michael Hampton.
Yep.
He was telling me about a guy that he met, a marketing guru out in California, and it's about bringing the third heat. There's more to it than just the music fans. There's could be another thing, and that they attach to that gets people going, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I haven't found that yet, but that's my next creative thing that my brain has got to get wrapped around somehow. It'll show. I just know it will. I just know that something will pop and I'll go, that's how I'm going to freaking do this. Now, it might not be right. I might fail at it, but it will come to mind. I will act on it,
Yes.
which I think is 90% of success. Because if I always go like this, if I think it's a good idea, it's probably other people will like this. So, for instance, when I do these Walk the Beats, the third heat there is all the nonprofits.
Right.
I mean, most people don't think of other nonprofits. I do, because I think of the community. So they're all out there. Right now I got 13 nonprofits all selling tickets.
Wow.
That's just nonprofits. So let's say there's 3 in each one. I got 40 people selling tickets.
Yeah. And talking about the show
And
to
if
their
I did,
friends and
if
their
I
family.
didn't have that going on, that third heat wouldn't be burning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I came up with that idea. Now, what I'm going to do for an individual band, I'm not sure yet, but I haven't really thought about it too much, but I know that I have to.
Right.
And I can't. I'm actually excited to see what I come up with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, because that's the creativity part where you go on, bam, but then you have to act on it.
Yeah.
So, like, if it is, well, if I put them all in a hot air balloon and send them across Paris,
yeah. It's like, okay, where are you getting
that
the
might
balloon?
work.
And-
But now I got to get a balloon. I got to raise the money for the balloon. I got to get them all in there. I got to make sure they don't get killed. I got to hear them. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of problems that come with that. But is that what it takes to make you famous? Not a bad idea, really.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea, hanging from a hot air balloon. I told my grandson, I said, listen, don't think it's beyond me. If you're at a show and I got you hooked up to a harness and you're flying over that crowd,
Right.
don't think that's beyond me. I'll do it. I'll do it. If that freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Why
people
not?
have done it. I mean, they've done that. That's not a new one. But I want to come up with something they are attached to.
Right.
Even G Love, you know G Love?
Oh yeah.
He's a gas, man. I love that guy. You know, he's not that much to hire either.
Oh.
But he's a gas.
Yeah.
And you know, he sells hot sauce.
Right.
It's G Love and the hot sauce. And the sauce, I think is what they call his. And you know, just things like that. I had a bottle of his sauce on my windowsill for years until it just vibrated off the other day and broke because we were playing music too loud. But you know, things like that. He didn't sell a T-shirt. He did. Of course, I have T-shirts too. But hot sauce?
Yeah.
You can have this delivered to your house.
Yeah.
Order it online, folks. If you love it, get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. People love hot sauce.
And and if you can make if you start off and make $100 a week with it, that's great. But if you can make $1,000 a week, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are, speaking of heat, third heat. So I think that's important. I don't think people look at it at all. I don't think, I think I've heard a lot of musicians going, well, nobody will hire me. I can't play there. I mean, I plan on putting our own shows together. Does Earth Radio put their own shows together?
We do sometimes. They're usually, it's either we book something, you know, like anyone would do through a venue, or a band reaches out to us and we consider like our calendar and like, you know, like, hey, you know, we worked with this band before. It was fun. Let's do another show, maybe a different venue or,
Yeah.
But especially in 2020 and 2021, we were, you know, we did a couple events where it was like, when we couldn't go to Rockford Brewing because they, you know, it was the pandemic, they still sponsored us to be able to stream in our backyard. So we did a co-bill with Desmond Jones and had everyone outside and and you know, like did some house shows where people were like, yeah, we got a backyard and a PA and we can like collect, you know, $10 for a cover. We do these shows, you know, once a month. And so, or, you know, creating opportunity, like partnering with Rake Beer Project, you know, like playing there once a month for a couple summers. And then also last summer we were part of, you know, one of the bands they worked with to make a, you know, a limited release beer.
Right. Oh, right.
So it was like
Very
just
nice.
these little things of like, hey, we're working with this place. They also want to invest in us. Like, what is that middle ground? And does it make sense? And
the pandemic brought it up. I was going to not even think about it. No. During the pandemic, what I did was I bought a low frequency radio transmitter.
Oh, right, for the drive-in things.
Well, I thought I was going to use it there.
Oh.
That's what I was going to do for a drive-in. So what it is, if I was right here, right now, and I turned this thing on, that you can go one block in every direction. So it'll cover 4 city blocks.
Oh, wow.
And all you do is tune in to the radio station. So that's, you tune into a station temporarily until, you know, I don't even know if it's legal.
Right, yeah.
I think it is. If you keep it under 5 watts or 15 watts, whatever it is, you can do this.
Yeah.
In fact, they do it for like houses. When you're driving by, you can tune into 88 point whatever, and you can listen to the description of this house.
Oh.
Like when you're going to buy a house somewhere, you know, and you see their sign.
Oh, really?
So that's the first time I've seen that.
Yeah.
But so I was going to do it that way, but then I ended up talking to the radio station. And he just did it live on station. Everybody just parked in the parking lot. And then we had the band right there, though, in front of you.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty good, but that's thinking
Yeah.
instead of, hey, I can't get a job anywhere.
Right.
What I'm doing is getting down on lazy musicians. And I shouldn't, because I like all music. But it depends on what you want. If you don't want anything to happen, yeah, you can sit around and do nothing. But
Right.
I'm just a big fan of taking care of yourself and get going. I mean, partner up. I
Right.
love partnering up, but I only partner with people that are going to get their crap done.
Yeah.
There's so many, and you could have 10 good people and throw one bad one, and then they'll stop the whole project.
Yep. I felt that. Yeah.
Yeah, you felt that,
Yeah.
right? I don't put up with that crap. I don't. I've even fired volunteers.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
I don't even want you to work for me for free.
Yeah, you're not just not helping for free. You're actually putting us backwards.
Yeah, you're
And
costing
it
us
happens all the
time and
time,
money.
man. It happens all the time. They put you backwards. Like, oh, I'll do that. Are you sure this is a big? No, I got this. You're insulting me. Okay, fine. 2 days before. Oh, yeah, I never got to it. Never did it. You're just going, you know what? Can I just punch you in the face once? Just once.
Just one
I'm not a violent person, but I'd really like to lay you out right now.
for wasting all this time.
Oh my God, yeah, and it could be a very important part. And I used to build houses. I built 100 houses in the area.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's just like a band, kind of, but they get paid.
Right.
I try to pay bands as much as possible, but God, it's so hard. But you're taking care of a lot of people, and all of a sudden you got a rotten drywaller.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going along smooth. Oh man, this is a piece of cake. Where's the drywaller? He's too busy at the moment. What do you mean too busy? I've lined this up 3 months ago. And it can ruin the whole project.
Yeah.
It stressed the crap out of me. That's why this new band, there's no shit for you don't give the manager any crap.
Right.
You show up when you're supposed to be here and you do your job.
Yeah.
We can have fun doing this, but if you're throwing wrenches in the pile every day, I'm out. Like we were talking about having 4 guys.
Right. Oh, right.
And I'm going, let's go with a power trio right now. And just,
solidify that.
Yeah, let's get that going and then keep looking for the correct person. And I know I haven't met this drummer yet, just for saying, but I met a drummer the other day, right? And my questions to him was, this your place here? He rents, right? Yeah. I go, is your rent paid? He goes, yeah. I go, really? You got a girlfriend? Nope. Wife? Nope. Kids? No. I go, you got to be kidding me. Is that your car? He goes, yeah, that's my car. I go, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's a unicorn.
You have a car and you have time.
No, you got time. No girl. You are the unicorn. He just moved here, so luckily.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Luckily, I met this guy. I don't even know how good he plays. We'll find out. He's supposed to be pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm looking for a strong drummer. Like almost like I fell in love with the Black Keys.
Oh, yeah.
I love those guys, man. They just kick ass.
Yeah.
And is it Talk, Tauk?
Oh, yeah. Talk. Yep.
I really fell in love with that band. Then Patrick came along. I'm not even, I just met him online.
Oh.
He actually just put a thing on Facebook and said, who needs a custom effects pedal for a guitar? I said, come on over and make one for Avery.
Yeah.
Shows up and he goes, okay, let's play a little bit and we'll find out just what you need maybe. I'll give you a little opinion. And
oh, yeah.
man, we sat down. I grabbed the drums, and I'm not a great drummer, but I can keep a beat when I need to. And my jaw hit the floor when Patrick started playing. And with the way he was interacting with Avery was on it, man. I've never heard him play that good. This is freaking awesome. And he is such a, he goes, I get into this project. This is the only project I do. And I go, oh, man, I like your attitude. And he's dedicating himself to this project. And
That's good.
A lot of guys won't or can't. He has a full-time job also, though. So, his bills are paid. But we're looking for dedication. I'm looking for a serious band right now. Because I'm serious about it. And I'm even doing a job. I'm doing a job so they don't have to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're getting some seed money for
Exactly. So, and since my grandson's in it, first person I asked was the wife, hey, can I have this chunk of cash? And she goes, for what? And I go, Avery's band. She goes, oh, well, if it's for Avery, do what you need. And then I went out and found this job that's just going to be a temporary thing. I'm just really kind of overseeing it. We're going to have a nice little pile to start with. So I think we might even be able to get paid rehearsals.
That'd be good.
Do you guys have paid rehearsals?
We have paid rehearsals for anyone who has to come from out of Grand Rapids, aside from Justin, just because he hasn't. I mean, we'd pay for gas if he asked for it.
Yeah.
But we don't have paid rehearsals right now. We have been paying ourselves out more because for the first couple of years it was like, all right, none of us have to live off this band, so we're just going to take whatever we make and put it into the band fund for merch and
whatever we need. Yeah.
And now we're more consistently, like, every time something comes up and we're like, oh, we should get some new photos. Oh yeah, we got the money. All right, let's get new photos. Like, there's been less like, oh, we have to wait till after this gig.
Yeah.
It's just like we have money that's still there. And we can
split up a little bit.
Keep building stuff with it.
I have paid people for rehearsals before. I haven't brought it up to this band, but I would like to because I do things a little different. It's like if I see your dedication, I'm all about it.
Right.
But I shouldn't have to make the first move all the time. It's like, show me you're dedicated. All right, yeah. I'm in. Let's do this. What would you pay somebody for a paid rehearsal? Let's say it's a 2-hour rehearsal.
Yeah,
all the gear's already set up. They
all
just
the
show up. I've already got. I've got a place. I've got the place. They plug in, do their thing.
Yeah,
they bring their instrument, but I got drum sets and stuff like that.
I'm trying to think because I think of times like recently with like Lee Heerspink's group, Monsters Impromptu, the one that's got like Jim Alfredson and Randy and a lot of different busy people. And we haven't done, like I guess we've done one, like sit down and rehearse stuff because we don't have a lot of gigs. But when we played GR Live, we got, 125. If we played Blue Lake, we each got 125. Like Lee
rehearsal.
Yeah, it's like Lee will pay us for, how
much time does that involve, do you think? You probably had 4 hours into that deal.
Yeah, it depends because with especially the Jim and Randy have played together for so long, they're basically one musician that can figure out parts. And then, me and Caleb having the music school background, we're used to being like, all right, rehearsals between lunch and our next class, so we only have an hour, like get everything teed up so we can use as much of that hour as possible.
That's what I'm trying to do is get everything set so they can just, let's get to work, man, and have fun.
Yeah, and then there's, I think of like with Earth Radio, we've been delegating like Sundays and Tuesdays, and Sundays are like we can get together, we can talk business, but it's just like a band hang and then Tuesdays, like tonight we're meeting for rehearsal because we have a bunch of shows this week, but we might get done with rehearsal in 2 hours and then hang out for an hour. Like there's always the like we'll rehearse however long we need. Like last week Zach Dubay subbed in the band, so we took 3 hours to make sure he was comfortable with all the music and he did his homework, so it was really easy.
Nice. God, they did their homework.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So
I'm lousy at that.
Yeah. So I guess it depends. I know Lee's paying us out. I never expect that.
Right.
And it's kind of in the same vein as a rehearsal in the sense that we're playing in a space for free. Even though it is for like, promotion or a radio thing or an in-person concert of some kind.
But you've never actually set up and say, okay, every week we're getting together and every week we get paid for rehearsal.
Right. That's with Earth Radio,
I'm trying to set it up like that, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out what I should pay. I mean, because there's just so much in the pot, it's always the battle is the pile of cash.
Yeah. I guess it's also like I know with Earth Radio, we always talk about what we need. And they're, like in the slower winter months, it's like, okay, we have these shows and like, oh, I would love to have, a payout from this gig and some amount just to go towards rent or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay,
Life.
yeah, we could each pay $100 out and it works. So,
we don't have any shows yet, so it's all upfront money at the moment.
Yeah, I guess
which I don't mind. I mean,
yeah,
if I could pick up a couple of these jobs I got, it'd be great. Yeah. Make more money doing that than I did anything else I've done. It's like, wow, that's cool. Yeah. And the guy happens to know my grandson, and he's a big supporter of Walk the Beat. And he goes, "How about taking care of this job for me?" No problem. No problem. I've worked with this guy a couple times since he helped me with the studio.
Oh, nice.
So he was kind of working for me here. Yeah. Now I'm working for him, which is fine. End up with a good friend. He's another one of those trustworthy people that always takes care of business. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite a ride, not only for Walk the Beat, but for this new band we're putting together. And, just been having fun with that. I just keep rolling now. Just keep rolling. Yeah. So that's what I got to say.
Yeah. Appreciate you talking about it. And yeah, it's cool that, to see the vision of Walk the Beat expanding, and then this new project's going to be cool to see, any young player that gets an opportunity to work with someone who's been in the scene for a long time is huge.
This Patrick Lewis just kicks my butt, man. I love it. I love it. And then he started singing the other day.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, my God. The guy sings like crazy. I just love the way he sings. It's very passionate. He's when he plays music, he's all in.
Oh, nice.
All in. And it doesn't look like it looks like he's all in. I seen a band the other day. I'm not even going to mention their name because I didn't like them. But it just looked so rehearsed that it literally looked like childish.
It just looked too.
No, I'm going to put my foot on the speaker now, and I'm going to jam.
Yeah, this is me, the solo look. This is the.
Yeah, it just looks. Now it was almost to the point where maybe they were doing it as mockery, but they kept doing it. You know what I mean? You could have fun by pretending some idiots doing this. Instead, It looked like they were the idiots.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I didn't say that.
No.
Cut that out of there. But you know what I mean?
Right.
When Avery and Patrick perform together, it's really crazy good. It's crazy good.
It's great.
You could probably turn the music off. Yeah. Like, man, those guys are into it. And I just love it. That's why I'm excited about the whole thing. Of course, I am very biased about my grandson.
Right.
I mean, I've listened to every bad note they could ever put out, and loved every bit of it. He's been going since he's not. Well, he actually performed. His first performance was when he was 3. Now he's 17.
Wow.
And he is tearing this guitar up pretty good. And Patrick will, being a senior player and just a creative person, together they're just going to knock it out.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to get going. I want that first thing going. But, and where do you go? Do you guys ever put on a real light show? I mean, a real light show. Have you ever had a real
we've been
hardcore, they got the everything going?
We've talked about that especially with Earth Radio, because we did some visual stuff last fall at Listening Room with a video synth reacting to our music, and some, Hannah brought a bunch of plant life to decorate the stage. Yeah. And so we've been having those talks, especially after, working on the planetarium show with Normal Mode, and seeing how, just that little idea of music complemented by visuals, and impactful that was.
Visuals. Yeah.
So
have you ever done it?
Not intentionally. If a lighting guy's there doing our show,
you just had somebody a flashlight at you by accident,
or if someone's like, "Oh, this guy's our house lighting guy," and it's like, "All right, whatever he wants."
Whatever you do, just try to keep the beat, will you? But because I'm just trying to figure out how much it costs to do it.
There's
ways, real one's got to be cost a few bucks, man.
And there's ways to when I saw Jacob Collier, the lighting director, this lady was really good and detailed with how everything shifted and changed with
the music.
With the music, but she also set it up where, because lights can take MIDI inputs, so she just took the MIDI trigger drum inputs from Christian Human's kit and his drum pad, and when he would hit certain things, it would pulse and change colors. Yeah. So
I'm sure there's tons of stuff to do with it.
Yeah, and some of it's just like, the input's already there and you just connect the parts. But with, I guess, that system, it's also, since MIDI's such a blank slate and you have like your you can assign different channels. It's like, okay, what channel is this light on? 2. Okay, so he hits this and this light changes, but now we have 30 more lights. So
yeah.
You started making groups, and
at least it's not as hot as it used to be. They're LEDs now, so
yeah.
Used to, geez, one light would fry you.
Yeah.
And you, especially if you're sitting next to it, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, just this bright heat lamp.
Yeah. But it's all been fun. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Remember to check us out at walkthebeat.org.
Yes.
If you want to call me anytime, walkthebeatdave@gmail.com. We're hiring 130 musical acts this year. They're all hired already for the 3 shows. But if we can get to 10 cities, we'll be hiring up as many as 400.
Oh yeah.
A year. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of they're not great. I'm not going to tell you they're great paychecks.
Right.
But you're getting paid. My goal is to double the pay if this catches on. If I can get the more of these festivals I can put together, the more sponsorship is worth.
Right.
Like somebody to take, okay, we're going to carry you for all 10 shows.
Right.
It'll be a year-long promotion.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I think that's the key for us. And people jumping on board.
Yeah.
If they don't like this, I'm going to do it up there in Whitehall and Montague. And if nobody jumps on board and says, man, we got to keep this going. I mean, I've got a lot of people on board already, but nobody has really stepped up and said, well, all right, what about next year?
Yeah.
We're not to that point yet. But if they don't do it, then it dies there.
Right.
If they do, if these nonprofits really sell a lot of tickets and it's a hit, then they'll get on board. Get on board. And so we'll find out then.
Yeah. Exciting to see.
If anybody's out there, if anybody's listening, show up on July 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah. Can I
oh, sure.
talk about, Tommy Foster twice, Our Rock, who do we got here? Nate Dill. Hannah Rose.
Hannah Rose, yep.
Tom Wall will be playing there.
Oh, nice.
Elijah.
Oh, Elijah, yep.
Elijah Russ, my buddy. Nathan Walton.
Oh, yeah.
Nathan.
Nathan's
he
great.
Was, American Idol? He was on American Idol, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Funky Brewster.
Funky Brewster, that's a good name.
RJ, the guy that owns North Grove.
Oh, RJ Nordland?
Yeah, he's playing. Yep. In fact, it's his place.
Oh, nice.
He'll have a place there. The Book Nook's got classical music. I got a church that's doing Christian music.
Oh, nice.
Lost Magic is a punk band. Kyle Brown?
Oh, yeah.
And the Human Experience?
Yeah, whenever that album comes out, I did some tracking.
Yeah, you did some stuff on it.
Yeah.
Great guy. What a nice guy. But, I mean, we got 40 acts.
Yeah.
So it's and we had to turn down at least 10 bands. I tried to find some more locations, but I just am burnt out on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've talked to anybody and everybody I can. But show on up for that, man. I think you'll have a gas. I think you'll be hooked on the Walk the Beat.
Awesome.
So,
yeah. Well, thanks again for sitting down and chatting.
Hey, thanks for letting me.
Yeah.
And I always like talking to you. You're one of the nicest musicians I know. You do work at your job.
Yep.
I tell you what, it's a big deal. I like you because you're a survivor.
Oh, thanks.
You know how to get through. You might. I don't know your personal life that well, and you might be living off of a big trust fund. I don't know. But
that'd be nice.
I know all I got was debt.
I'd get sleep more.
Yeah. But you're working at it. You're working at your passion. I respect you totally for that, and I know you're a wonderful player. I mean, just all around, you got it going on, man. I wish I had a project that we could work together on. But this
Thanks.
is nice. This is nice to see everyone's call. So
Yeah.
thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
And good luck to Earth Radio.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, I appreciate your patience in the scheduling of everything. Everything's up in the air, and, just trying to do my best. It's a one-person operation, might have another person interested in doing more regular work, so that's exciting to have some help in that. And every bit you donate to Patreon or merch you buy goes into supporting this podcast, as well as, sharing and following and just keeping up to date and letting people know that it exists. Because the internet's a big place, and direct sharing is a great way to connect people to the podcast. So we will see you in the next episode of Mitten Backstage. Don't know when that's going to be up, but follow me to find out. Until then, enjoy your summer, go see a show, go support some local music, and take care.